Okay, it's middle of February. It's planting season, so this weekend I'm going to plant 2,000 loblolly pine. This is what loblolly pine looks like. It's and these are open root. Normally I plant containerized seedlings. This year I'm going to plant open root loblolly. They're anywhere from 8 to 18 inches high when you buy them, and you have to buy them from a nursery. I buy these from East Coast Seedlings. These came from Shibuya, Mississippi, which is southeastern Mississippi. And I'm in north central Mississippi. So the weather here, our nights get down to 30 degrees. We haven't really had a significant winter. We have cool nights, but we're starting to have warmer days. And if you're going to plant pine trees, oak trees, or any sort of other seedlings, you need to plant them when it's cold and wet outside. And the reason is you want to plant them so they have time to root before spring really hits. Because when spring hits, everything is trying to grow and they have to compete with all the surrounding grass and the other trees and plants for sunlight. If you plant them in the winter, loblolly will actually root during the cold season, and then when spring gets here, they have a much better chance to grow. They sort of have a head start. You can look at it like that. Anyhow, when you buy these, you get them from a nursery, and you'll get a bag like this. It has maybe 1,000 seedlings in it. If you buy containerized, you get about 250 to 300 in a box. Open root just come in a bag like this, but the nursery plants these in sandy soil. So you notice, if you see, look up close, there's a lot of sand on the root structure. They plant these in sandy soil so that when they get ready to harvest the trees and send them out to the growers, or the people who are going to ultimately plant them in their fields, it's easy to pull these out of the ground at the nursery. If they planted these in hard soil, the nursery could not harvest them to send them out to other people. So they plant these in sandy soil. And when the guys at the nursery go to pull these out to put them in the bag, they literally just yank them out of the ground. I mean, they're gentle about it, but they pull them out of the ground. And since they're planted in sandy soil, it's easy to pull them out of the ground. Anyhow, I've got all my supplies out, set up, ready to go. I'm going to plant 2,000 seedlings. This is Saturday morning, so I'm going to plant 2,000 seedlings between today and tomorrow, I hope. And a little advice, if you're going to plant seedlings, and you can plant these pretty much anywhere in America. Some of the northern climates, they may grow slow, but in the southern climates, they really take off and grow great. But if you're going to plant these, get yourself in shape. Usually a month before planting season, I'll start getting more exercise. I work on a computer a lot, so I tend to get lazy, I guess, over the winter. But about a month before planting season, I start getting out walking more, running some, doing some other exercise. You have to get yourself physically in shape because you have to walk through the grass, walk up and down hills to plant these. You have to carry a dibble, which may weigh 10 to 15 pounds. And if you're not used to working in an outside environment, you're just not prepared for planting. So get yourself prepared. Always have plenty of water on hand too. So anyhow, let's go plant some. I'm going to demonstrate how to plant an open root loblolly seedling. Okay, so before I plant this pine tree, let me talk about dibbles. Okay, these are both dibbles. A dibble is a tool you use to plant trees. You can see that these look different. They're different lengths. They're shaped differently. This is for a plant that has a containerized root structure. And if you want to see what that looks like, I've done some other videos on planting containerized pine. This is the dibble that you use to plant an open root tree. Now, this dibble that's not painted is easily twice the weight of this orange dibble. So I prefer to plant containerized because it's easier and faster. With this dibble, you have a shape that's triangular at the end and it's wide, because to plant open root, you have roots that are branched out and you have to make room in the ground for the whole root structure. So that's what this is for. So you need something that's this wide, and when you put it in the ground, you have to work it back and forth to make a hole big enough to put the root in. So let's talk about the root for a second. When you plant this tree, the roots have to be straight down in the ground, especially this long piece that's called the taproot. This is called the crown. So this piece right along in here should be at the ground level. So when you plant it, you need to make a hole deep enough so that this root can stretch all the way in the ground. You don't ever want to put the tree in the ground and have the root folded up like that. That's called J-rooting, and that'll make your tree grow bad. It'll make your tree grow crooked, or your tree won't grow at all, or its growth will be stunted. So you don't want to J-root it. You don't want to push your tree down in there and have the root bent like that. You want to have plenty of room for all your roots. So let me use the big dibble and put one of these in the ground, show you how this works. Okay, let's do another one right here. All right. So use your boot, pull the grass back, and expose the dirt. Take your dibble, make an indentation, and notice I don't go all the way up to the bar on the dibble. You only need to go 4 to 5 inches. All right, so usually I go about that deep. Take a tree, put it in the hole. Don't push it down. Don't force it in the hole. Just push it down until you can feel the bottom. Pull the tree back up a couple of inches. Take your dibble. Put the dibble in the ground about a finger's length away from the tree. Maybe a little bit farther than that. It depends on the soil. Make another indentation. Push the bottom in to close the bottom of the hole. Push it away from you to close the top of the hole. And then try and close the second hole as much as you can without stepping on your tree. So that's really all there is to it. The main thing is, let's look at this up close. The main thing is you just want to get the tree completely enclosed by the dirt. You don't want to have a hole beside the tree. If you do, take your heel and gently close it a little bit more. So the second hole is right here where I push the dibble in to close the bottom and top of the hole. That's fine because that hole is going to fill up with water and that'll water the roots. So anyhow, that's all there is to it. These trees right here, I planted those I think 3 to 4 years ago, and they're growing really great. I use the same method for all the trees. So, you know, if you want to plant a tree, just make a hole, put it in the ground, let nature do the rest. Let me give you a quick update on the trees we planted last year, because a lot of people respond to my tree videos and want to know how long does it take the tree to grow. A loblolly pine, the company I buy them from tells me that you can harvest it in about 17 to 20 years. And it depends on the growth and where you buy them. I mean, where you plant them. If you plant them somewhere where there's plenty of moisture, good nutrients, and the soil has not been under or over fertilized, you probably can do that. But some places where you have especially gravelly or sandy soil, or if they're up on a hill where the water drains off and they don't have a lot of moisture, it may take longer. I think we're on track to probably harvest ours in probably about 18 to 20 years, which I don't know if we'll do that or not. I mean, it depends on a lot of factors. But let me show you the trees we planted last spring. This tree is about a year old. It's probably doubled its height. And over the summer, it's going to double its height again or more. And then next year, which will be its 3rd year, actually that'll be its 2nd complete year, it'll probably be 4 to 5 feet tall. Here's another one. This one looks really good, very healthy. You can tell it's grown above the grass. So that's another thing people ask me. They say, do I have to prep my land? Now the commercial growers will tell you, yes, you need to prep your land. You need to bush hog it down to the ground. You need to bring a trencher and trench it so that you open up the ground. Then you're supposed to let the rain hit the open area to wash the loose soil down in there. You plant the tree in that trench and then you kick it closed. I don't do that. In fact, I don't do any land prep for my pine trees, and mine are doing just fine. Here's another one. Here's one. Also, a lot of people want to know how close together can you plant your trees, and it's really up to you. I think what we do is we put a tree in the ground, and then we usually take 1, 2, 3, 4 steps and put another tree in the ground. So let's look at a couple more trees. Here's a really nice one right here. So this whole area, you probably can't see it, but this whole area has got trees all over it. So we planted, I think, 1,500 trees on this patch of land last year. And with a few exceptions, they're all doing great. Now, some deer and other animals are going to come along and break your trees. Deer are going to rub up against them when they get bigger, and that may kill some. Most of the time, a deer rub or deer scrape does not hurt a tree. Most of the time, what I've observed is that they survive just fine. Here's another one, and you can tell something came along and hit this tree. The tree actually grew a branch, but it's doing fine anyhow. Loblolly, one of the reasons I like planting loblolly is that it has a very strong recovery. If they get damaged, they recover really well. In fact, some people that plant loblolly will come along after about 7 or 8 years and they'll do a burn. They'll burn off the underbrush and it doesn't hurt the pine. The pine survives just fine. Okay, let's feed the bees. So between the end of October and about the end of March, I'll come through once a month and I'll put out a candy bar for the bees. And that's what this is, a candy bar. This is a mixture of honey and some other stuff, but the bees love it. I don't know what all's in it. I don't even know if it has nutrients. I just know the bees love it. So most people that have bees call this a candy bar. So you're supposed to take the top off the hives, lay this across the hives. I just got hit by a stick. Lay this across the hives, but I don't do that. Usually I lay it, I slide it up inside the bottom opening, or I just lay it on the ground. Honestly, if you put this anywhere close to the hives, the bees are gonna find it. So I'm gonna unwrap this, put it in there. And by the way, the bees are doing great. You can see that I wrapped the hives up. They're coming out both sides there. This other hive I think is dead. I haven't seen any bees in this hive for probably the last month. I don't know what happened. I treated my hives for mites, so I know it's not mites. And there are a couple of bees going in and out. I suspect the queen died, and when the queen dies, you're done. The hive is done. The bees will leave, and that's called absconding. They'll leave and go somewhere else, or they may invade a hive nearby. But anyhow, I'm gonna feed the bees a candy bar. I'm just gonna lay it on the ground right in front of there. Now bugs are gonna get to it. Other bugs like these also, which is why you're supposed to put it inside the hive to keep other bugs from eating it. But I'm in north central Mississippi. It's almost springtime. Everything should start blooming within a couple of weeks, I think. Actually, flowers are blooming now. But they'll be making more honey, but I think they're healthy. This hive is thriving really well. So anyhow, I'm gonna unwrap this, put it on the hives, and then we'll leave the bees alone for another week or so. Okay, I got the candy bar put out. You can see I just put it on the ground. And actually, I was gonna try and put this inside the hive, but I didn't bring my bee jacket, and I really don't wanna get the bees all upset. I'm not so worried about getting stung. Well, I am worried about getting stung, but I really don't wanna stress the bees out, so I'm not gonna take all this apart, remove the insulation and all. I put it on the ground. What I've observed in the past is that if you just put it somewhere close to the hive, they're gonna find it. And by the way, this is the second or third stickiest substance ever developed by humans. So don't get it on your hands if you play with it. So anyhow, there's the candy bar, there's the bees. So long, guys. See you next week. Okay, so while I'm out here in the woods, I thought I'd do another demo. I did a video on the light belt last year, and I've now applied for a patent, and it's patent pending. So a lot of people have asked me to do another demo, and I held off doing the video until I could get patent pending on the light belt. But here's the light belt right here. It's literally that. It's a light belt. It's a belt that I made. It has a battery pack that gives you about 3 to 4 hours of light time. There's 8 LED lights on it that altogether give it 1600 lumens. So I've been promising some folks I would do a video for a while. So while I'm out here in the woods, I thought I'd go ahead and do it. It's about 7:30 at night on a Saturday night. It is completely dark. We have an overcast sky. I think it's gonna rain tonight. But I'm gonna walk off, turn the light belt on, walk back up to the camera so you can see how it works. And I'm gonna turn the flashlight off. And I'll do like a side-by-side comparison of the light belt and the flashlight. And also stay tuned, because I've been promising some folks I would get some more video with the Glass Owl night vision unit. So I'm gonna do that tonight, add it on the tail end of this video. So, all right, let's look at the light belt. I'm gonna walk off and be completely dark for a minute. All right, now I'm gonna turn it on. So that's the light belt working. I made the light belt so that I could work at night, because when I'm at the farm, I'm typically out by myself working at night. And there's a battery pack on the back, right there. And It straps with a utility belt on the front, and there's LED lights on both sides. And I stand out like the moon out here. I look like the moon walking through the woods. I mean, it's literally like daylight with a light belt on. So let me do a comparison of the light belt and the flashlight. So there's the flashlight, and you can compare it to the light belt. The light belt gives me light in both directions, that way, and some behind me as well. And I can increase this. It's flexible, not flexible, it's expandable. Right now it's got 8 lights. I can increase it to 10 lights for a total of 2,000 lumens. But it really lights things up really well, and very handy. You know, you can get lights, like I've got a headlamp that I can mount on my head. And well, I don't have it here with me, but I don't like that because I don't like to wear stuff. The headlamp sits right here on my forehead, and I really don't care for that. You can also get lights that that clip onto your hat like that, and I'm not big on that either. I like to have both hands free. The light belt shines light up and down and out to the side, so it works really well. So anyhow, that's a quick light belt demo.